Hello, once again, everybody. I want to welcome you to the Properties and Peoples podcast. I'm Jeff Pierce with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate Fernleaf Group. We're going to talk updates today in our county, and I know you're all interested in what's going on and the big things happening here in our county. And we want to welcome Judge Craig Clymer. How you doing, Judge?
Doing good.
Good to
be
see
here,
you.
Jeff.
Thank you for taking your time away and coming on in to talk to us. I know you are going at both ends, so I appreciate you being here and kind of give us an update. So,
Sure.
Tell us what's been going on. What's been going on in the county? Where we at in the process of one of these projects?
Well, it's been so I've been in office now 7.5 years. When I came into office, I told the guys at that time it was Bill Bartleman, Eddie Jones, and myself, and Jeff Parker. And so I told them, and we all agreed, we got 4 years. That might be all we have. So let's see what we can do. Let's engage. You know, the county, the McCracken County anyway, had been a little bit lazy. You know, I would say for one thing, we found out very soon that our financials were in just really bad shape. And so we had to address that. And I told them, let's see what we can get done in 4 years. If we can't get projects completed, get them started. And so we dug in and got that started. And one of the first things really was, you know, our kids were playing on a landfill, around a landfill site for soccer. And I thought, man, this is terrible. And then the long story short is I was able to negotiate with a big company, Caesars, out of on Park Plaza in New York City, to get the property of the Bluegrass Downs harness track there. After a while, I was able to get the city to join us, and so that sports park has now come to life. It'll be opening here this next few weeks, and we'll have a groundbreaking and all for that. It's going to bring a lot of kids in here with their families from the entire region. Travel ball, they call it.
Right.
Our children here as well will have the benefit of those fields. All synthetic turf, state-of-the-art, everything, brand new, lighting, everything, nice parking lots, and right there on Highway 60 and right beside the Greenway Trail. And so that's a big project for us, and we're going to get that buttoned up and get that rolling. Really, the biggest thing going on has to do with out at the gaseous diffusion plant, the DOE site, Department of Energy. When I came into office 7 years ago, they said, you know, in 20 years, maybe 25, could be 30 years, we'll have some of this land cleaned up, the buildings torn down, decontamination mitigated, and we'll be able to start turning this land over to the county. That's in the law, that the land goes to the county once it's becomes a brownfield site, it's called. And so you decide what you want to do with it. And so I said, and we talked in the community, the Chamber of Commerce, the city, you know, all the local leaders, state reps. Let's reindustrialize that site. We're going to have a workforce. They're going to be trained in nuclear. So it's really a no-brainer. Let's build out nuclear industry out there. Here we are 7 years later, and we already have two companies, not one but two, Global Laser Enrichment and General Matter. Both are going to be enriching that uranium tails, they call it. It's depleted uranium. 20,000 tons of depleted uranium been sitting in canisters out there on that lot as a hazardous waste. Now the technology is such that they'll go in there, clean that up, enrich that uranium, enough uranium there to provide the entire United States of America's needs for decades to come.
Wow.
And it's sitting right here in McCracken County. Huge thing that's going on. There's also 9,700 tons of contaminated nickel sitting out there. Another company is going to be announced very soon to come in and clean that nickel. nickel's valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
I did the calculation once. I forget the number, but 9,700 tons starts to add up to a little bit of jingle.
Yeah, pocket change. Yeah.
So that's on fire. There's been talk about the artificial intelligence. I do believe that's coming. I think that'll be announced very soon. The two enrichment companies, they're each over a $1.5 billion infrastructure capital expenditure. They're gonna employ several hundred people. The AI employs less people, probably in the less than 100 or so, but the build out is in the 15 to 20 billion dollars. And so what that means to our community, this growth, this bringing in these buildings, the construction phase alone is going to take a couple of thousand construction workers, from heavy equipment moving the ground. They've already got the trees logged out, land clearings going on. Every building trade will be involved: electrical, plumbers, steam fitters, everything. And so the county gets a percentage of the wage, occupational tax. It's just 1%, but it adds up at that rate.
Absolutely.
And so the evaluation of that property, we receive some tax money off of that. We receive the tax money off the workers, and what that'll allow us to do. We have already begun reducing our taxes here in the county. We will be able to continue to do that at a faster pace. I foresee in the next few years, as these things start growing out, and this new source, it's a new source of revenue coming into our treasury, that we will be able to continue to cut back, I think, quite substantially on the taxes that our residents and our businesses pay. And so that'll be really strong for the community. We can continue and even increase the services that we provide as a county, but at the same time lower the tax rate. And that's what people are looking for. I guess the third leg of that stool is these jobs. There's going to be thousands of jobs available, and they're not just jobs; they're high-paying, decades-long careers. Some of it will be we'll be pulling in the trade union folks from across the nation. I've been talking to them, continue talking to them. They notify their people in California or New Mexico, wherever, Florida, say, hey, there's good jobs for several years in Paducah, Kentucky, McCracken County, and here they come.
Right.
And they're strong workers. They're skilled. They're trained. They are drug-free, which is a challenge these days.
Absolutely.
And so it's just coming together. Senate President Stivers, back in the summer of last year, said the next boomtown in Kentucky is Paducah, McCracken County, because of all this. You saw Governor Beshear the other day saying this uranium enrichment will be one of the largest project in Western Kentucky ever. And he was only talking about Global Laser Enrichment. There's the other company, and then all this other going. So literally, well, I won't say literally. It's not literally. We're not on fire, but figuratively speaking, we're on fire in McCracken County, bringing the jobs, bringing the taxes in to reduce our residence taxes. There's going to be, I guess, the other leg to it is housing. These people are going to need a place to live. We already have a study showing that we need 3,800 housing units before any of this was even thought of. And so we're going to need 4,000 or 5,000 housing units. I've been talking to developers. I'm not going to be in the housing business. I got enough to do. But
I'll be on part of that side of it, with the real estate.
Yeah, you might know somebody that might be interested in that. As I suspect you've found, land prices are starting to go up because of the demand. God only made so much land.
Absolutely.
And so you start using it up, there's less. Prices go up. And so I've talked to a hotel developer, 2, possibly 3 more hotels coming in. to accommodate both the sports park and this. A lot of people don't know construction workers sometimes just use a per diem, and so they'll stay in motels instead of purchasing a home or renting an apartment and that sort of thing. But we're going to need everything from RV parks to small houses to medium to large homes for the people who make more money, the supervisors and that sort of thing. The growth is near unimaginable.
Absolutely.
It's just I look back 7 years ago. I tell people if I'd said anything like this, here's what's going to happen, and I said those things I just said, somebody just slapped me and say, what are you on? What are you taking? But here today, it's coming. There's no doubt it's coming. I talked to the people in DC, the guy, environmental management, Tim Walsh is his name. He says, buckle up and strap in because we're coming.
That's good.
And Boomtown, it's going to be just an energy juggernaut really out there at that site, developing out and providing for the nation's needs. That's one of the neatest things about it. I think I'm a patriot. I believe in our country. I believe in our people. And for us to provide for our people, we're going around to the elementary schools and talking to kids and their parents, of course, in 4th and 5th grade, saying, hey, you might want to start thinking about nuclear related, electrical engineering, civil engineering, that sort of thing. Our children don't need to be thinking about, hey, when we graduate from whatever, we need to be moving away and going somewhere else to make a living. You can raise your family right here on a great salary. You're contributing to the strength of the United States of America in your job. It's a meaningful job. You're getting paid well. And look at everybody agrees all the amenities, all the attributes we have in this community. So it's all coming together. I don't take the credit for all this. I do take the credit for hiring people and putting people in place that are great at their jobs. And I also take some credit by going around. I've traveled the entire country almost, going to different sites, brownfield sites where there was a nuclear site and they've reclaimed and they're doing these sorts of things. What'd you do right? What'd you do wrong? Tell me what you think I ought to do. What's the top 2 or 3 things I need to do? And making those relationships, both in DC, but around the country. And there's a company, Energy Community Alliance, nuclear communities, big part of that. Sandra Wilson with the chambers on that board. And we go to those they call them waste management conferences, meet all the experts, the subject matter experts. I've made some good relationships with them, sit down at lunch or dinner and talk about what do we need to do? How I want to make sure we don't make mistakes. You know, we can focus on what we need to do, but let's not make a mistake that's going to hurt us. And one thing that we are needing to focus on more is educating the people on 2 things, really. One is I think there's a mindset that, there's this phrase, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And so there might be people watching this say, this guy's trying to get reelected. Well, I am trying to get reelected, but this is happening. And so, there's that aspect of it. But, we know this is coming. It's really just unimaginable growth. What it's going to do for this community. We're the talk of the Kentucky for sure. We're the talk of the nation for sure. I walk in Washington D.C. with our small group, and we see congressmen from other areas, and I don't know. I get up there fairly often. I'm big, kind of a little ugly or whatever, I guess you say. But somehow or another, people recognize me for some reason and say, "Hey, I see what you got going on down in McCracken County, Paducah. That's great." And I said, "Man, it is. And come on, get on board."
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's why we're doing this podcast, to inform, like you said, to inform all of you about what's going on, what's happening. It is real. It is coming. And I do have a question, Judge. Do we know about when we can start seeing the contractors coming in and really getting down and starting any of these projects? Are we 6 months away, a year away from
Less
that?
than that.
Okay.
Some of them. I have not sat down with each of them to see what their target date is, when to start and when to finish, and that sort of thing. Some of these projects, to build out a $1.5 billion huge facility, you're talking maybe 3-4 years to actually build that thing out. The AI, will it come soon? Will it wait a bit? Well, they've already, as I said before, they've already been working the land, getting the trees cleared. They got their engineering done. These things are massively expensive. These companies are multi-billion-dollar companies because they have to spend several $100 million for their permitting and to get approval through Nuclear Regulatory Commission and EPA and mitigation of other things, and so they're heavily invested. They're gonna do this. You don't, even if you're a multi-billion-dollar company, you're reluctant to throw away several $100 million, and they can only be one place. Those canisters of uranium are sitting there, and they're not going to be moved. They're going to clean them right there.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay, that's interesting. So let's talk a little bit about how this will affect local businesses. You know, whether it be gas stations, hotels, restaurants, you name it, clothing, all of this. I mean, it's all going to grow. It's all going to grow, and over the next few years, we'll be seeing some of that, and that's awesome.
Right. Yeah, it's I guess boomtown is the word for it. I think, it's pretty cool to think too about in 1951 is when they came in and built that gaseous diffusion plant for the Cold War to enrich uranium for nuclear bombs. So, that shut down in 2013. So 13 years ago that shut down. They've been cleaning and that and all, and so now it's circling back around. We're coming back around to another boom town because that brought in thousands of workers. I've talked to the old timers, even older than I am. There's just a few out there.
Just a few left, huh?
So they say, man, it was a boom town. This little sleepy farming community, all of a sudden here they come. The federal government's going to do this, and built that thing out in a short period of time using workers from all over the country. People were coming and sleeping in corn cribs, any place they can find a roof to get under. And so they go from poverty to making pretty good money, the federal government even back then. And so we're full circle now. And to imagine that here in this community, we now are redeveloping that and building out what we have. We're going to build another port out there. There's going to be a Paducah McCracken County Port West to service that area out there. There's a lot of land around there that's going to be available for other things. The indirect effect is going to be these hotels, these fuel stations, these restaurants. It's just the growth will be incredible. I also I chair the Paducah McCracken County Planning Authority that looks at transportation needs. We're looking out 20 years. We probably need to be looking out 40 years because in the next few years, as these people all start coming in, what we don't want is to have all the traffic congestion that you see in like Clarksville, and Lord help us if it's Nashville. And so we got to get on that, and working with the state on that. About the state highways, the interstate, the federal folks. We need more lanes. We need less congestion, and so we're working on that. We don't want to get behind the 8 ball and say, "Man, look, look at all the congestion, look at all the people, and we can't accommodate it. So it's the long game.
Right.
It's like Mitch McConnell's book, the name The Long Game. I met with Mitch multiple times over the last few years. A lot of people don't like him. I do. I think he was a great planner. He brought billions of dollars into this community over the years, and so now he's moving on. But we're picking up from there, and we're just going to make great strides for this community. I hope that people will recognize that. I'm excited about it. I hope everybody is. It should be, and it's what we've been looking for: jobs, high-paying jobs, low taxes. Good services, and it's just all coming together. It's, I told my wife, am I going to wake up one morning and say, man, that was one heck of a dream.
Right.
I was dreaming all this
Yeah.
was going on, and
Absolutely.
and here it is. So just incredible for our community and the surrounding communities. We can't accommodate in the housing, at least initially, for all that right here in McCracken County. So our adjoining counties, the river counties that are in some cases struggling for their economy and their housing and that sort of thing. Ballard, Hickman, Fulton, and Graves, the tornado and all that. People don't think anything about driving 20, 30, 45 minutes to and from work every day. A lot of people do that.
Absolutely.
And so that's one of the things you say, well, where are we going to get all these 2,000 workers initially to build out, and then 1,000 or more for decades to come? Well, a lot of them are already here. There's people here that live here and they travel away from here. I don't recall now the numbers, but it's a large number of people that do that. If we can offer them probably a higher paying job closer to their home, then they're gonna do that. And so it's just a big puzzle, and we're working on the pieces. We're being very strategic about it. We're planning that out and talking to the right people. I mentioned about and I think it got off the educating the people. That's one of the main things that we need to be stronger on. And we are going to bring at least one, if not two, subject matter experts in. I've been with a gentleman several times now. He's a nuclear scientist. He's brilliant. He can talk to you about nuclear at a third grade level, or he can talk to you about it, I know, at a level where you just say, no, what are you talking about? And so we need safety, number one, protect the people. A lot of times we think that's just law enforcement, crime, that sort of thing. But we're entering into a nuclear phase here where people, let's face it, the history was not good. The science back in the 50s did not recognize the dangers of some of these things, and there was a war effort on, and there was a rush, and so a lot of people got hurt. There's people that died, of course, out there with this. The science now, as you might imagine, in 75 years, has grown to where we don't have that issue now. And we have watchdog agencies in the Nuclear Regulatory Commission, Environmental Protection, multiple government or private entities that are watchdogs on this. And there's nothing more heavily regulated than nuclear. And all the experts agree, I guess, bypassing what's obvious to me and to a lot of others, nuclear is the future. Solar's fine, wind power's fine, sort of. Coal has been criticized and has been, it's not clean. Nuclear is it. And here we are, we're on the forefront. We're setting the precedent for great growth here and providing that nuclear fuel. So I'm positive about it.
Good deal. Good deal. Very informative, and that's a lot. And you just shot it out there like you know it. You do know it. You've studied it, and doing a great job. But I want to thank you for coming on. I know you've got meetings and everything. You're busy all the time. Thank you for coming on and updating our viewers. We appreciate that very much. And
I would like to say one thing is that I want people to understand that I live here, my children live here, my grandchildren and their grandchildren and children are going to live here. I would not do anything that would compromise the safety of this community. That's number one. If I get an inkling that something's been done wrong, first of all, I think we can have confidence that it's not, but I'm not going to bring something in here. I can't say I'm not going to. I'm going to say I've got a voice in this. I've been surprised really at how much local government is listened to in DC and the federal government. When I talk to these folks and say, here's my concern, we need to address this, it gets some attention.
Okay.
So that's the number one thing is you can shoot yourself in the foot. You can come right out of the chute, as they say, and screw something up that's just really strong, really important, and just essential for the vitality of this community. You do something wrong and start off on the wrong foot, and you can really diminish it, maybe even destroy it. So.
Right.
So we're being very careful about that. We'll get the people educated, and those who want to be, and so that's a big part of it too. But I certainly appreciate you having me on. It's important, and maybe we can do some more, talk a little more about it sometime.
Absolutely, we'd be glad to have you on. I'm sure the viewers want to hear more as time goes on. So who knows how many times you'll be sitting in this chair and telling us about it. So we appreciate it. And if you happen to have any podcasts you want to see, ask questions, have different guests on you want to hear about, let me know in the comments here of this post. We'd be glad to try to accommodate you on those and get the guest in that you want to hear about a certain item or certain thing or whatever the case may be. So thank you once again for joining us on the Properties and Peoples podcast. We will see you next Thursday morning at 7 a.m.